Shalom. I am Rabbi Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to speak in the next few minutes about this week's Parsha, which is Parsha Vayishlach. Vayishlach is the Parsha that begins after our forefather Yaakov left Lavan, after he was with Lavan for about 20 years, and decided to go home, to go back to Eretz Yisrael. And the Parsha begins with him sending messengers to Esav. His brother is coming, and the messengers come back and say, he's coming to meet you, and there's 400 men with him. And the Torah says, Vayira Yaakov ma'od. Yaakov was really afraid. And he divided the camp into two camps, saying if Esav comes and attacks one, the other one will flee, and so on. The question that is asked, and that we ask ourselves, is why was Yaakov afraid? Yaakov was promised that that God would return him safely to the land of Israel. That promise was made to him on two different occasions. It was made to him when he dreamt about the ladder, and God gave him a promise then that he will be able to be a great nation. He will return to the land. The promise was again made when he was asking God, do I leave Lavan? What do I do now? God said, he gave him the promise of protection. Now, Jacob was not just an ordinary person. He's referred to as the Bechor, the chosen one of all of the forefathers. And because he combines the qualities of Abraham and Yitzchak. And Jacob was perfect. So why is he afraid? He was afraid of his brother Esav. Now, remember, he hadn't seen Esav now for over 30 years. After he received the blessing, which he surreptitiously took from their father, from Yitzchak, he knew that Esav wanted to kill him, so he fled. And he spent the first 14 years studying in the yeshiva of Shem and Aver. Then he decided it was time to get married, have a parnasa, make a living, and he went to Lavan. And that's where he married Rachel and Leah, and had 11 of the 12 tribes. Now he's worried. So the Medrash says two things. Medrash Rabbi says, first of all, he was worried that he might be killed, or maybe he would have to kill somebody else. But that begs the question. Again, if he's so perfect that he's been promised by God that he's going to succeed in going back, why is he worried? So the Medrash Rabbi in Ayin Vav says he was worried because he thought that Esav would be able to overcome him because of his mitzvos. Now, wait a minute. Esav was a rasha, was a wicked person. Esav was, going out murdering people. He did every kind of bad thing. What's Yaakov worried about because of his mitzvos? So Yaakov said he's worried because he has two mitzvos that Yaakov has not had for the last 30-some years. What are those mitzvos? The mitzvot of Kibud Av Va'em, honoring his parents, because Esav stayed behind with his parents and was there to help take care of them. Well, Yaakov was far away and didn't have the benefit of being able to take care of his parents. And more, that Esav was living in Eretz Yisrael. He was living in the land of Israel. And Yaakov was living outside of the land of Israel. The importance of Kibbud Av Va'em we see in the Ten Commandments, the Aseret HaDibrot. It is the fifth commandment. And the commandments, if you divide them, the 10 commandments, the first 5 are the commandments between man and God, and the second are between man and man. And this comes right on the cusp between both. So we can see that honoring parents is like honoring God, because we know that a child is born the result of 3 partners, the father, the mother, and God. So the concept of Kibbud Av Va'em is very important, and it's one of the mitzvos for which you're guaranteed long life. So he was able to do that. The second thing he did was Yishuv Horetz. He never left Eretz Yisrael, never left Israel. Why is that important? The living in Eretz Yisrael is a key. It says in Parshas, in Bamidbar, it says the sentence, "V'harashtem es ha'oretz," I will give you this land by inheritance. Yishavtem ba, you shall live in it. Filachem dosati es ha'oretz l'reshtes al, because I'm giving you this land. And the Ramban, Nachmanides, says that this is a positive mitzvah, positive commandment, telling us the importance of living in the land of Israel. He says, you can't take this gift that God has given you and ignore it and treat it lightly. So therefore, this is an important commandment, and Esav was able to fulfill this, and Yaakov wasn't. So that's why he was worried. More about Eretz Yisrael, it says in Parshas Re'eh, again, it's referring to Eretz Yisrael, and it says, Ki atem ovrim et hayarden, you're passing over the Jordan, lavo l'reshes es oretz, to go and possess the land, asher Hashem lokechem nosein lochem, that God gives to you, namely the land of Israel. Yerashtem atem v'yishavtem, but you will inherit it, and you will dwell in it. And a few sentences later, it says, Ushmartem lasos, it's called a hukim hamishpatim, you shall be careful to fulfill all of these statutes and all of these laws, asher anochi nosein lefneichem hayom, that I give to you today. The juxtaposition of those 2 sentences indicates that living in Eretz Yisrael is the equivalent of all of the mitzvos of the Torah. It's equal to all the other mitzvos together. So Esav, despite the fact that he was a Rasha, he was a wicked person and everything else, the fact that he was living in Eretz Yisrael made Yaakov fearful, made Yaakov fear that he wouldn't be able to overcome him because of the benefits that Esav had. The Talmud spends a lot of time talking about the importance of living in Eretz Yisrael. It says, you live in Eretz Yisrael, God is with you in everything you do. There are portions in the Talmud that say, if you're living outside of Eretz Yisrael, not only do you not have the opportunity to do the commandments that are fulfilled only in Eretz Yisrael, but you actually lack the presence of the immediate presence of God as we feel it here in Eretz Yisrael. So it's a very important message. I want to just mention one other quick thing. It's an interesting thing. There's this, Yaakov goes on and he wrestles with the angel, and the angel overnight, especially with the angel, and finally injures him in his sciatic nerve. And then the Torah tells us, because of that, the Jewish people don't eat the sciatic nerve from a kosher animal. And I believe it was the Kli Yakar said, it says first, Vayivasher Yaakov levado, Yaakov was left alone. And we're told not to eat the sciatic nerve, the most delicate part of the most delicious part of the meat, to teach us that no Jew should ever be left alone in this world. We always have to be aware of and involved in the welfare of our fellow Jews. I thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.